There were no assurances of my today from my yesterday. Yet it happened. Then do I need an assurance for my tomorrow? Smile. Inshallah, tomorrow everything is going to be all right. Hello to you from Anshu Jain and welcome to the third episode of The Routine Smile, In-Sha-Allah Tomorrow. The Routine Smile presented to you by Qatar Indians, an effort aimed at exploring your options to smile through the dimensions of challenges. Well, the faith in a day ahead is what keeps a man smiling through the night. Because we know there are people who burn as bright as the sun to spread their warmth, wisdom, and goodness around us. Like our today's auspicious guest in conversation, and I'm talking about Mr. Khalid Mannai. And Mr. Mannai has made this conversation even more auspicious by being the first national to be a part of the show. I would call him a man who touched the root, blended with the stem, and grew into the branches of the Mannai Corporation. Mr. Mannai joined the Mannai Corporation in 1987, and today he is the Vice Chairman of the Executive Committee. Additionally, he also has a leadership role across various businesses and state organizations within the state of Qatar. Thank you so much, Mr. Mannai. It's indeed a pleasure that you have agreed to share your valued time and experience with us. We are pretty sure it is going to bring smile on the faces of many who are in dire need of it at the moment.
I hope so.
So without any ado, I would want to begin the conversation. Sir, the scenario is post-corona. Pre-corona, we have seen the extent of growth of Mannai to several other countries. And you have managed successfully to live above the impact of all social, geo, and political levels. How far has a business as yours been touched by the pandemic alone?
Well, the thing is that this pandemic is a global, not only a regional or in Qatar or whatever. I think the thing is we have a different basket of different activities, and some activities obviously the business are continuing in a small way, but they're continuing. Some businesses obviously they have stopped. Some businesses, so there, because we have activities in Qatar, we have activities across the region and activities across the globe. There's a basket, so each one balances the other. The question becomes, it's you have to be very careful, and you have to be, shall we say, I would say cautious, but at the same time, you have to have a little bit of vision, because if tomorrow things go open up, obviously you're going to have to manage back the businesses. And I think, during this period of time, one has to be patient, but one has to also be cautious. But going in future, in 2, 3, 4, 5 months' time, definitely things will start to go back gradually. In all, let's say, over the years, whether it's through the Spanish, pandemic, whether through the Depression, all throughout World War I, World War II, and even up to the last, let's say, real estate depression, 2007, 2008, countries came back, businesses came back. So, the businesses go through cycles. So, when they come back, you have to be ready to be able to manage that business. So now it's a question that you have to be cautious, and you have to try to have a long-term vision. Because if you're going to have a short-term vision, what happens is that you're going to end up, losing the whole plot. And, when I say caution in sense of trying to manage, whether it is your payroll, whether it is your employees, whether it is your cash flow, whether it is your, shall we say, your incentives going forward on the business. So it's something that you're going to have to balance, and that's where I think true leadership will come about, in sense that knowing how to manage the business going from this transition to the next transition, because obviously this has come up all of a sudden and it is becoming global. So the business is not just only, in Qatar, it's all over. the question is that you're going to have to be patient, and you're going to have to learn how to manage. And the other thing that's going to, I think can come out of it is there's today new sets of ways of running businesses out of home, running businesses out of different activities, using, like, whether it's a Zoom or whether it's WebEx or whether it's Microsoft Teams. So I think the world is going to change. So you're going to have, okay, there will be definitely a lot of, let's say, on-ground activities, but there will be activities that's going to be changed through our lives. Today, the Internet of Things will start to move in different ways, and you will find that a lot of people will start to use different techniques. So I think the change of businesses is going to go through. You have to try to be able to adopt.
Right, sir. So I guess you have said it very rightly, sir, and such a nice message that you have conveyed to all the companies, all the organizations here, that they have to be extremely cautious, they have to be very well planned, and they have to take every single step in a very nice manner, considering and thinking about everything that comes.
I always say you have to turn this negative into a positive. And that's where true leadership comes about at the end of the day, and businesses who are going to start to recover as businesses who are going to learn how to survive. And a lot of the businesses that went into a stage where they've come down, they're going to go up again. It's the same. I mean, if you look at businesses if you look at 2001, 2002, don't forget that the oil at that time was $10. And people were, companies were surviving. Now it's a bit more, double, but still way lower than the prices that was there about 4 months ago.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But I think even that, I think will continue in the next 6 months, and they will definitely have to bounce back. Okay, they might not reach to the old pricing, but they definitely will reach to some pricing, but definitely higher than what it is right now. Because that pricing today, I don't think that can continue. Right. Because everybody will be hurt, especially the producing countries. So how long they can sustain, that is different. That's the ball game that now people are watching, especially when you're talking about Saudi or Russia. The US, for them, because don't forget, they've stored everything that they want, and cheap gas for them, cheap oil that they have, they're happy because they'll sell it very cheaply. But when you're talking about the producers, the income is a lot less. And the shale gas producers, they're very expensive. So for them, this is somewhat, like saying, oh, you know what, let's fill our storages and let's be able to sell it at a low price so we can be able to manage during this phase. Whereas the producing countries are hurt. Mm-hmm. But then how long you can manage? And then all of this is a question of supply and demand. But then at the end of the day, it's income, it's revenue. Yeah. And especially if you talk about, the region and the Gulf, it's all oil-based. Luckily, in Qatar, we're blessed because we have gas, we have petrochemical, we have a little bit of oil, and also they have a lot of investments. So we have a balance.
So we are balancing everything. So we are coming up with a plan, and definitely, as you rightly said, if we are cautious and if we are having the right plan, and human beings have come through, they have come over all the challenges. So this definitely shall. Sure. Very true, sir.
Sure.
So we know that there are over 6,200 employees under the umbrella of Mannai Corporation, and right from oil and gas sector to automotives to information technology to facilities management and many more. And we have seen many of the employees, we have read the reviews of many of your employees who have expressed their content on the support and growth that they have experienced while working under the umbrella of Mannai. And I have personally been a part of one of the celebrations wherein you were also present. That is the annual party of Mannai, sir. But at this current challenging twist of time, what would be those few strategies that you might have planned to retain and to sustain that smile on the face of the employees?
I think one, for them, just to try to be able to be patient, It's a phase that we'll try to go through. You know, at the end of the day, I think we will overcome it. And in 6 months' time or a year's time, one will look back and say, wow, you know, it's something that we managed to challenge. So I think the thing is, be positive, have the right, you know, mindset, and let's pray that it goes away, you know, as soon as possible, because obviously now, you know, it's quite at its peak. I think it will come down eventually. Nobody knows when. The government, they are trying to do their best. They're you know, going through a very, let's say, rapid phase of testing. From what I hear, they're testing at about 10,000 every day, patients every day. I hope, you know, that this eventually will come to definitely a lead, and eventually it will open up. We just have to be patient. Countries, you know, Europe, Italy, which went through a very tough phase, a very ugly phase, in Spain especially, they've started to open up, or they will be opening up, I think, within the next couple of weeks. Germany has opened up, Sweden. I think UK is also going through a tough phase, but from the announcements of his prime minister that they're going to be starting to open up. I think the question is that eventually you're going to have to look at it from the way is, how long can you wait? And at some point in time, you're going to have to open up, but it's going to be phases. It's not going to be once. And at the end of the day, it's going to take its time. And we just are going to have to live for a while, how to get around it. And that's the whole thing, that you're going to have to try to be able to manage around this corona. It's not easy. It's something that I think it's first time that this has ever happened. And one has to go through it, and just has to pray.
Very true, sir.
And hope that that we will all go through it in a safe manner.
Very true, sir. As you rightly said, it is during the toughest time only, sir, when the strength of the person is actually measured, and we can understand. And so, as you said, that we are very well aware of the fact that government is taking every possible measure, whether it is about healthcare or our safety, the daily needs. We are very well provided. We are very well equipped with every single thing that we need and desire, even at this phase of pandemic as well. So, but when we talk about businesses, when we talk about corporates and organizations, what kind of support do you see from the state towards keeping the businesses floating through this way? And does it include...
Yeah, sure.
And so does it include a relief plan for the employees as well?
From the government, you mean?
From the government, from the big organizations out here? Shall we expect them that?
I think everybody is there. I mean, I don't know about the government. I mean, everybody is hoping that something will be done. They're already had what do you call, some different packages for the small and medium-sized businesses. Mm-hmm. They're already looking at well, there are a lot of let's say the government, some government organizations in terms of rental, they postponed. The banks has already started on some loans to defer. There is different, let's say, packages that they've come out with. The government has put in 75 billion riyals, obviously, for this pandemic, and then another 10 billion for the public, for the stock market, and I think there will be some definitely to support the banks through the central bank. But the other businesses and what they will do, I do not know. But I'm hopeful that they will try to do something, at least that will come up, that will at least assist some of the companies going through. Because obviously there's a lot of companies, there's businesses that's being hurt, whether it's the retail, whether it is some of the manufacturing, the real estate, the hotels. I mean, so yes, when, I don't know.
True, sir. And so the state has already supported us all the time, whether it be about the residents, the nationals, and everyone, as you rightly said. So you being a renowned business figure, not just in Qatar, but you are known worldwide, wherein when we talk about In-Sha-Allah Tomorrow, which is the name of this segment, we are truly looking for the hope. We are hoping that everything is going to be fine, definitely tomorrow. So, do you have any social recommendation keeping that in mind? I mean, your stance on aspects like cost of living, education, health expenses, which are the major concerns of the layman at the moment.
I think one has to try to be able to manage as much as possible with the current situation. And the other thing I would say, stay safe and be able to, look into, the shall we say, the rules that the government has put in terms of, especially in terms of social distancing. I think that's going to be part of the future. Definitely, there will be masks and gloves. That will be also part, I think, of going forward for some time. So I think one has to try to be able to survive with caution.
Exactly. So, rightly said, sir, we have to take care of all the measures which are being told by the government, and that's how we are going to be sustained, and we'll go through that. So, can we have a message from you for this current scenario and everything for the whole of Qatar? One message that you would want to give to all the people of Doha.
I think just be patient and have faith. Definitely, things will change. God is there, and stay safe. Thank you very much for this interview. It's a pleasure, and I hope everyone manages to be patient, have faith in Allah or God, and I think we'll go through. We'll get through this, and just stay safe.
Thank you once again, Mr. Mannai, for joining us today for this insightful conversation. And I hope to see you back, inshallah, on a brighter day. Thank you. Well, when an eagle takes flight, it soars through the clouds, trusting the innate nature of its creation. No one needs to assure it that, yes, it can fly above it. If man too can adapt this trust in the purpose of his creation, then hope belongs to him. Inshallah, we will soar through these dark clouds together towards the light. Stay tuned, stay safe, stay smiling. See you all soon at our next episode of The Routine Smile. Inshallah soon.